Hello and welcome to what is our instalments of the story of a Bertram 25, which we have done up over the years. She was an original boat with stern drives. We've podded it and put outboards on the back.
Hook, line and sinker project boats, Andrew, and this is the story, as you mentioned, of Beast 2. About 2015 or 16, I think we did this boat up. Was it over 2 years?
Yep, it was a big project.
Yep.
It was over about 18 months. And she was original. She was a 1980 25-foot Bertram. If you haven't seen us sort of finding the boat, using the boat, stripping the boat, there are other videos, so perhaps go and search for those now.
We're using the boat today, as it turns out. Beautiful day here, doing a spot of flathead fishing. What we'd done, we'd got to the point basically where the pod had gone on. We'd ripped the stern drives out and put an aluminium pod on the back. And then we sort of did it completely arse about, really, didn't we?
And it was my fault, because what happened was, it was Christmas time and therefore summer holidays.
Yep.
And you were going over to your island home.
Flinders Island,
Flinders Island, in the middle of Bass Strait. And you took with you a show boat, which was a bar crusher.
Yep. You had no boat.
And I had no boat. And I was like, no, bugger that, I'm not having no boat. So instead of finishing her off, we just got her going.
Right, so this, we went and put the engines on basically. Yeah. So the engine power choice was a couple of 200s for this boat, which turns out to be a very, very good choice of power. Yep. And we whacked them on. Yes, there she is, the mighty Beast 2, the towering, imposing Beast 2, Andrew. It'd be fair to say that this is, by some distance, our most ambitious project ever.
She's a big boat, Nick, and today is one of the most important days in her restoration transformation, because today she gets her Power 2, brand new Yamaha 200 sitting here in boxes. We're in a workshop. I feel at home.
Andrew, you'll be asked to leave very, very shortly, because workshops are not a place for you. We've come to our local Yamaha dealer, Coastal Marine, and they, the experts here, are going to take what lives in these boxes and put them approximately here. There'll be more to do than that, but that's a big part.
You're going to be surprised at just how easy it is these days to put a new Yamaha on the back of your boat. So as the Coastal boys went to work on fitting the engines, we busied ourselves with other important jobs. Yes, look at this. Look at this. I've got a big puppy. It's very heavy and very powerful. 1 kilowatt.
Right, so this is our transducer, and a lot of people would be familiar with transducers that hang on the back of the boat.
Yes.
This is not one of those transducers. This one will shoot through the boat.
Yes. There's an old one in the boat.
Yes.
From like 1980.
This has an arrow which points to where we're going. Now, you'll be interested to see.
What's all that water in there?
Yeah, you see, that's a good thing. A lot of people would see that as a negative, but that means the Beast is waterproof. At least the bottom of it is. Now that, Andrew, is our wet box where we're going to put our transducer. The thing about your wet box is it has to be...
Ooh, look at that little transducer.
A little racehorse, a little whippet. Maybe.
The transducer fit-up was a very tough job, so we left it. More interesting things were going on elsewhere.
What do you think about our pod design? You've had a look and you've made some determinations about engine height and so on. Do you think, you know?
I reckon, Nick, this pod has obviously been designed beautifully.
Yes.
And, you know, all we've had to do is drill some holes. We've got the engines on there now. So, well, one on there now, about to get the other one on there. Height-wise, I reckon they're going to be spot on. The pod follows the lines of the boat, so it's going to be superb, mate.
Is it going to be a fast boat now, Anthony?
It's going to be very fast. A lot faster than what it was, Hardy. So, you like speed?
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like speed?
We love speed.
We formerly had a top speed of about, what, 20,
22, I reckon, on a good day,
20
down current, down wind.
25 knots.
25. Well, there's 400 good reasons here that it's going to beat that, Nick.
Righto, mate.
He's on.
In virtually no time, the second motor was on the boat, and back in the day, this would have been a complicated job to rig, but the fanatical Yamaha engineers have fixed all that.
Now, while all that heavy engineering is happening out the back, time to come to the Helm inside and talk finesse about how we're going to make the interior of the boat pop and match the rest of it. This is an impressive Flybridge Cruiser. It needs to look good. Obviously, when we took the stern drives out, they came with a great deal of gauges and big handles and all sorts of stuff there. And we did toy with the idea of actually getting a new dashboard built up, didn't we, Andrew? We toyed with the idea of having new dashes made.
Yeah, oh look, you could do that and it would look really good, but it would be really, really expensive.
Then we came across this, which is basically bits of black Perspex style plastic.
It'll be neat.
Which you could go something like that, which fills up that hole. You could mount something in there. And again, like that, you will mount gauges there, and it's sort of, it almost looks like it's meant to be there.
There comes a time when you have to draw the line.
Correct.
Because you can go as far as you want to go and as far as your bank balance will let you, but we can't.
No, and it should be said that often if you do that, if you take that road, you won't get your money back.
No. So the pair of them have been bolted on, and that's pretty much the biggest job because the rest is a breeze. It is all plug and play, fly by wire. It's all digital, it's all electronic. There's only a couple of these sort of wires that run from the engines up to your Helm stations. 2 stations. We'll have a station selector switch. We've got gauges that tell you absolutely everything, how much fuel you're using. We've got push button starts. How cool is that? Port engine, boom. Starboard engine, boom. Flat out, boom. Very, very trick bits of gear. Brum, brum. Brum, brum. Brum, brum.
When I single-handedly, without Andrew's help, stripped this boat out of all its wiring and stuff, there was literally 2 garbage bins full of cables and wires and junk. And to make the upstairs Helm work, you know, back in the day, that involved connecting cables and all this sort of rubbish. Now, you run 1 wire up there, plug it in, and bang, we are live.
And here is the Helm 5 or 6 years on, and not a lot's changed. I mean, everything is still working. We've got our switch panels here, lights throughout, autopilot, the Yamaha gauge, a 12-volt thingy, more switch panels, anchor winch. All works.
A reasonably complex sort of wiring job, this boat. It's got more stuff than
other boats?
Yeah, than most other boats.
Tabs are good. They're, what are they?
Pneumatic.
Pneumatic. So
yes.
they run on air, and they actually make a big difference, particularly with levelling the boat up.
Blade style tabs that run on air.
Doesn't need much tab in the water to straighten you up.
Autopilot is a joy.
Yeah, it's good.
I love an autopilot.
Press a button and away you go. The thing about your big Bertram 25 though, even though it is a big fit up job, you've got room.
Yeah.
You're not really sort of up in, you know, you can't reach in there, you need a little monkey or whatever to get in there
even
for you.
From back in the day, there's a big cable pipe that goes, you know, from back near the fuel tank there all the way up to the Helm, so it's quite nice. Stuff that goes up, the Flybridge goes up through that little thing there, which is quite handy. So yeah, we didn't do all the electrical fit up, but did bits and pieces really, stuff. Now Now, this is a delicate stage of the process. This is Chris Snyman, who's one of the guys here at Penguin Composites. Chris, you've just had a look at some of the wiring in the Beast. Now, Andrew wired up the stereo and a few other bits and pieces. How would you describe the state of that wiring?
It was my brother-in-law and he did a good job.
It wasn't bad.
Everything worked.
It was terrible.
Everything was working.
You were saying not only is this terrible wiring, but this is very, very dangerous as well.
Yes.
It was a fire going somewhere, the Beast. So
it all worked and it didn't burn down.
Andrew has been sacked. He's now working the camera and doing an equally good job of that. Mate, this boat is going to be quite a complex ship. It's got a lot of systems. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And it's worth spending some time just deciding where the systems will fit best.
Yes, that's right. You know, you want to get them in the right place the first time.
Yes.
You know, once you want to move things, once they've installed, it's a headache.
Yeah, because you don't want to be moving. Like I was saying, we've got autopilots, trim tabs, anchor winches, horns, sounders, inverters, every sort of electrical bell and whistle. So you have been commissioned to go in there with your wire cutters and begin.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep, happy with that. For the long-term viability of Beast 2, a good wiring job is well worth the money.
One interesting thing that we did do to the boat, in sort of to try and get its appearance back up to standard, was to wrap it. And wraps back then were a fairly new concept.
They were. We use a company called Fish Wreck. We've done a few wraps. I think this was this the first
This was the very first wrap.
that we wrapped. They're good, you know, they cover up, certainly for the hull, you know, you can take the hull. This hull never would have come good, you know, you could have polished it and polished it and polished it, but the fiberglass was gone and chalky and dull, never to be restored. So a wrap is a good way to fix that.
The wrap just covers it up, and then if we want to change the wrap now, you can just pull the wrap off and put another wrap on. So we went for quite a loud wrap because we figured we're going to wrap it, let's do it properly. Well, let's do it loudly. But you could also just wrap it in, you know, nice off-white if you wanted to. But here is the wrap going on our 25-foot Bertram. So our method of, basically I'm calling it cheating, to cover up all of Beast 2's sort of imperfections is to wrap the boat. And to wrap the boat is this man, Paul Shaw from Fish Wreck, mate. Welcome along.
Yep, thank you, Andrew.
What are your first impressions when you look at Beast 2, 1980?
Yeah, a little bit rough.
She's a little bit rough.
Yeah, a bit rough.
But mate, what you do, you have those wonderful wraps that just cover all that up. Tell us what actually is a wrap.
A wrap is basically one big sticker. You know?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's printed on a large format printer using UV stable inks.
Yep.
And laminated so it can handle all the salt spray and everything else like that. And we basically just stick it over the whole hull.
And so it's the in thing. Everyone's getting their boats wrapped because you can have awesome artwork on it, or you've already designed our wrap. Wait till you see it. But will it stand up? Like, you know, if every time I bang it into a jetty or catch a fish over it, like, will it stand up?
It will. It does need caring, but unlike two-pack paint, which probably costs twice the amount to do, you can easily just replace the whole side of the wrap of your boat.
All right, well, this is intriguing. I'm interested in how this process happens, so let's wrap it. We've got today.
Yep, let's do it.
All right, mate.
Yep.
Look at that. Isn't it enough? Really good job.
Really good. I could probably go to the side.
All right, now one side is almost applied, just a matter of neatening it up now. And look at this stuff, this is quite good. This is just a trick of the trade?
Yeah, it's actually called knife tape. It's like braid within a sticky tape.
Yeah, and that saves you cutting it freehand.
Yep.
The artwork is quite impressive, this big marlin here. Tell us about the artwork at Fish Wreck Wraps.
Yeah, well, this one's from this one's from Jason Mathias. He's an American artist. He does paintings, very well known. We also got an artist by the name of Nick Lafariere, and he does graphite art for us, more like the grunge art.
Yeah.
And he's based in Canada. We like to use real art because it just looks a little bit more special than digitised.
Mate, it looks special. You've made this boat look special inside, you know, an hour and a half on one side. Very beautiful.
Thank you.
Look it up. Fantastic. Paul worked like a man possessed, wrapping and using a little scraper thing to make sure that there were no air bubbles under the wrap.
Andrew loved it. By late afternoon, she was ready for the big reveal. Righto, so Paul, you know, best part of a day, what is it? It's coming up for 4 o'clock. You've worked hard, we've done basically nothing, but here we are, presented with our living, breathing, floating work of art.
Yes.
Mate, what do we have to do with it now? Does it have to cure? Do we have to put stuff on it? You know, what's the care regime for a wrap?
Not much at all, mate.
Really?
Unlike paint, you don't have to wait to put it on the water. It can go on the water straight away.
Yeah.
Good to give it a wash like you normally would a boat.
Yeah.
Take the salt spray after you've used it. Other than that, that's it. Park her in the shed.
She's ready to go.
She's ready to
go. And it won't just all rip off like Christmas paper?
No, certainly won't. Unless I put it on wrong.
Mate, no, you have done a great job. It is a beautiful thing to touch. It feels smooth and new. Now, obviously with this project, and some people at home, Paul, will pick this up, we're doing it kind of in the wrong order. This might be one of the last things that you would do, but because we're doing it, we've sort of done it in the middle a bit. But mate, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Fish wreck. Get your boat wrapped. It's good. So we're actually pretty happy with that. You know, it's kind of like a work of art. You were quite keen to have, it's got a marlin on it, hasn't it? You know,
Really has.
Yeah.
Because it's called a marlin.
Yeah, that's right.
She's a proven fish raiser, you call it in the business. But no, she looked good. And she was sort of close to going.
Close to going. We had some issues, obviously. Internally, nothing had been done, you know, with this engine box and so on. So we had some holes there. We wanted to tart up the top sides as well. So then it was off to the next step in the process, which probably should have been the step in the process prior to what we'd just done. But that was to the fiberglass joint.
Tart it up.
Yeah, next time, next instalment, a bit of tarting up and then putting it in the water for the first time, Andrew, which threw up some very interesting results.
Well, it proves to be a disaster.
A disaster. If you're enjoying this, please feel free to hit the little subscribe button there on your YouTube thing and the bell button, which means you won't miss any more. And we will see you next time. Let's catch a fish.
None here.